never having an ulterior motive when writing has always been like a strict rule of ours. Like we just want to make music that we like and we're proud of. There's no goal to get it on the radio or a playlist. We just like to make music.
Hi, I'm Alia, and I'm here with Noah from Bad Omens for Enemies in Conversation series. Hi, how are you?
Good.
So we're here in London, where you've just played 3 sold-out shows in the Dome. How have they been?
They were great. They were a lot of fun. It's always nice to come back to those more like intimate settings with the live show and playing like the smaller venues. Last time we played there, I remember it felt so much bigger to me at the time because we just, I guess, we're a smaller band. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and there's definitely still a lot of demand in London for us, it seems like.
How has it been like seeing like the live reaction to the album?
Very rewarding. It's my personal opinion that this is our best record we've made, and I feel like that's honestly an objective opinion at this point because we've clearly had the most success from it, and that's rewarding, like I said, because we put a lot into it, and it's my favorite to perform live, and it's the favorite thing I've written. It's just nice to see that like my taste is like shared amongst our fans in the rock and alternative community, and like people also kind of get what we're going for.
And with the song like The Death of Peace of Mind, which you made like early pandemic using sounds you recorded around your own house, what was it like translating that to like a live setting? It
was kind of challenging at first because there's so much electronic production and like so little, full band, like live bass and live guitar involvement until like the second chorus. But we found ways to like make it feel natural and not awkward. Like for a while we opened the set with it, so it would just be me on stage, and then Folio would come out and start his drum part, and they would walk out, and it would feel kind of like each person has their own entrance. So now we're playing it as the first encore song, so it has that same effect. So it's not like in the middle of the set and like kind of weird for everyone to just disappear for 2 minutes but me.
And then obviously Just Pretend has had like a huge viral moment on TikTok. What do you think is like getting people to like resonate so strongly with that song?
I think it's just something as simple as it's a really great song, and that like good songs kind of do that regardless of genre. And Just Pretend doing well on a platform like TikTok is nice because to me I feel like it transcends genre and like rock or metal to a way that like even people that don't particularly listen to that type of music very often really like it. And that's always been the goal with this band, is to like expand the musical horizons of people both in and out of rock. Like I want people that don't listen to rock and metal to get into it because of our band, and I want people that only listen to that to get into other genres because of our band.
Yeah, and you've said that you kind of experimented so much that you kind of don't feel like a rock band anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of like a jarring take, I feel like, for the rock community, because it's definitely like there's a lot of elitism in the rock and metal and like gatekeeping. But I like to feel like we're so experimental at this point that there's songs I would say are industrial songs with rock influences, whereas most of the time you're a rock band and you start experimenting with electronics and you're like, oh, we have influence from electronic music or industrial music. But with us, like, we almost start with those elements to the point that throwing in guitars or live drums is like us adding rock after the fact.
And like across your 3 albums, there's been like a steady progression from like a more, I guess, like straightforward metalcore sound to like a more experimental, like pop leaning sound. Do you think you're gonna like continue in that direction, or are there new places you want to go?
Well, I really found my voice on this album, and there's still so much I feel like I haven't discovered with my voice, and that's been very rewarding. And I think people kind of gravitate towards, and again, more so like the metal community, that kind of, I've noticed they sum everything that's not rock or metal into pop. Like there's not so many variations of pop, like dark pop and indie and like bedroom pop or whatever. And they kind of all just reduce it down to just pop because pop is very vocal focused. But because of what I've been able to do with my vocals, that's why this record is so vocal focused, and like the production is built around, nuances in the vocal takes and like the lyrics and the subject matter and, just the emotion that you can deliver in a vocal. And that's why, like, despite how much time we put into the vocal production, we didn't go that heavy on like layers and stuff. Like it's only what needs to be there is there. Like there's only like one harmony per side, and we didn't do like a lot of doubles and verses. Like we wanted it to feel very intimate and like just, like close when especially if you're listening in headphones.
Yeah, I think like that's one of the reasons I think people are like Just Pretend is doing so well, is it's such an emotional song, and you have that like emotion in your voice.
Yeah. I love the vocal takes in Just Pretend. That took a long time to track and get the exact one that I wanted.
And then the story of how you wrote that song, I think you said that you were trying to like prove how easy it is to write like a radio rock song.
Yeah, we were all talking last night actually and laughing about this because like right when we finished the show, our manager was actually there and he told us that like we officially like hit the media base #1 like threshold or whatever. It needs to be there for a couple days or something. And we were just joking about how like, because I wrote that song in January 2019. Oh, wow. And at the time I was like frustrated with like people in my ear talking about like, oh, you need to focus on radio and you need to do octane and this and that. Never having an ulterior motive when writing has always been like a strict rule of ours. Like we just want to make music that we like and we're proud of. There's no goal to get it on the radio or a playlist. We just like to make music. So with Just Pretend, it started as like this ironic like butt rock song. Like even the way I was singing in the demo, like I was like doing this exaggerated bravado. It sounded like Shinedown or Godsmack. Like it sounded way more manly than I naturally sing. And by the time we finished the chorus, as silly as the vocal sounded, I was like, this is actually a really great chorus, because I was kind of just like freestyling. It was a very natural, like I had written some chords and I just started singing in the booth over it, and this like melody came out, the lyrics came out like really quickly. Yeah, so last night we just realizing that a song that was written to like poke fun at how easy it is to make radio rock is now #1 on the radio rock charts is like the most ironic full circle moment this band will probably ever have. But it also like there is like a positive twist on it, which is like you can have fun, you can goof around and like really make something amazing, because that's how it started. I was just goofing around, like joking, like kind of being like petty almost. And then I was like, oh, this is a nice song. We should like take this serious. And that's what we did. And now 4 years later, it's #1.
And yeah, and with that song being really like charting well on radio and doing well on TikTok, you've had like a huge viral moment on your third album. Was it helpful to have all those years of like experience before you got?
So helpful. So helpful, especially like, I can't speak for everyone in the band, but I'm sure they would agree. Like me personally, my job as a singer, I feel like I really came into my own over the last year and a half. And that was a combination of like, during the pandemic, really wanting to improve my voice, because I'm always like very hypercritical of myself. And like a combination of that and like getting in better shape and like being healthier, sleeping better, eating better, and just, you know, really taking the job more serious than I feel like a lot of my peers were, which is maybe why for so long I was like more lax about it, because I felt like everyone around me was really lax. And you know, it's rock music, so it's like it's got an edge, and it's like it's inherent with, you know, partying and staying up late and like drinking and stuff. And you know, when I kind of just started treating it more like a job, especially my body as like a singer, like my instrument is my voice, you know. So like if I get sick or something, there's really not much I can do. I can try to force my way through it, but it's not, you know, it's not like you could still tune a bass guitar if your throat hurts, you know, and it'll still be in tune. So yeah, I think it's just a lot of like self-criticism that everyone in the band like, you know, has. We're all very hard on ourselves and it pays off. You know, we try to like split the difference and also have fun and like be relaxed, but we take the band so serious. And I think that like anything, like that hard work just kind of translates, and it's brought us to where we are. And we would not have been able to seize this moment that we're having right now had we not had that experience and like learn those lessons. And you know,
and going off of that, you've said that making The Death of Peace of Mind sort of changed you as musicians and songwriters. What else are you like sort of pulling forward to take with you into new music?
I don't know. I like to make our live show, especially like meta, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of like, it's hard to explain, but like I like to put like clips from monologues and movies that I like that maybe relate to what my interpretation of our songs are into the live set. And I like our music to, if not make people like feel a certain way, like think a certain way. And like, you know, it's hard to do with music because it has to be like poetic and nuanced, and like it has to rhyme, so you can't like, it's not like rap where you have the luxury of like really being direct and like, you know, saying everything you want to say perfectly. But that's like what the beauty of like doing press and like interviews are. Like people get to ask me what my interpretations are about the songs and like my intentions, and then I can be a little more clear with like what mine are. But at the end of the day, like it belongs to everyone else now. So like I want people to do their own thing with it, you know.
Speaking of live show, I was there on Friday, and you brought out Sam Carter from Architects.
Yeah.
And you guys are fans of Architects, so what was that like?
We've always been big fans of Architects, and they're with the same management company that we are, MDDN. And that was actually my first time meeting Sam, ironically enough. But our manager set it up and was like, hey, Sam isn't obviously like you're going to London. Cool to meet you guys, like link up, maybe even like do a guest spot on stage if you like have a song you think he would do a cool job on. And Mercy, the song that he hopped in on, like when we wrote that, it was like definitely a time I was listening to a lot of Architects. So there's probably some inspiration there for sure, if not even like a little biting. But it's like a song about global catastrophe and just how like the human race has kind of condemned itself and contradicts itself so much, especially as far as religion is concerned. Yeah, I was like, that would be the perfect song for him to come in, you know, just because of my experience listening to Architects. And yeah, it was really cool. He crushed it. And we don't usually do like guest spots on stage on tour. We've done it a couple times, but that one was like, we have to do it. Like it's Sam in London, like it's perfect. It's awesome.
Do you think you'd want to like work with him in the future on anything?
I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but as far as like collaborations go, I have like a weird like like with our band and our brand, I feel like I like to keep it like its own thing. Like I don't like crossovers, like universe like the metalcore multiverse. Like I'm not really into that. Like I kind of like us to have our own thing. If it was a really cool song and it came out, like I was very excited about it, absolutely. But I would never like, I guess what I'm saying is I would never like have or do a feature just for like the networking cross fan base, like, you know, clout aspect of it. Like I want it to sound cool. And
you talked about gatekeeping earlier. Do you think like this, like we're getting to a point where like, I think the metal community is becoming a little bit more open-minded?
They are reluctantly. They can't help it. I think I think bands like us and Sleep Token in particular, because they're also very experimental, it's just so good that like people can't help but like it. And those people, like, because we're kind of born in this side of music that you would call metalcore or alternative rock or metal, whatever, it's hard to like put us somewhere. Like every now and then I check in on the metalcore Reddit threads, and they're always arguing over like what can and can't be put in there as far as Bad Omens and Sleep Token goes. And I love that, like, it seems like the only thing they talk about is like how they can't talk about us in there. But like, I don't know, as far as like core goes, metalcore, like it feels like a spectrum now that like people are trying to narrow down and be like gatekeepy on, but then newer fans are like, no, like I like all of it. It's a really jarring comparison, but it reminds me of like when Lil Nas broke on the country charts, and everyone's like, that's not country. And he's like, kind of like, country's a spectrum, you know what I mean? It's got country influences and the subject matter and even like the visuals. And it reminds me of that, where it's just like so different, but still also rooted in like the only genre that has like breakdowns and heavy guitars, that people are just confused and don't know how to act, and they want to label it. But I don't think it needs to be that complicated. I think people can just listen to it and enjoy it, and it's like, it doesn't need to be a discourse at all times about what type of music it is.
Have you started looking towards like making new music at all?
I want to so bad. We've just been touring so much. Right. We've been so busy. When we were home after the last tour for like a month, I started a new song that I'm very excited about. And I know Jolly, he writes a lot more on the road than I do, like on his laptop, but I need like space, and I need like my studio, and I don't know, I'm not like comfortable writing on the road, but that's like the thing I'm most eager to do with the next big chunk of time off we have, is just work on music.
And you just put out the a cappella versions of the tracks. Are you also, I heard some chatter about like unplugged versions? Yeah,
we every day in the VIP, people ask like when we're doing an unplugged version, and then someone else is like, and when are you coming to this country? Like, you can't have both. Like, especially like, because me and Jolly, we produce everything, and yeah, I really want to. Like, the songs are already experimental and fun, but there's so many more places I think they can go. Like, I want to do orchestral versions. I want to do like stripped down, like, you know, clean guitar versions. I want to do like, have some people do remixes of like industrial versions of songs that make them even more industrial. But yeah, there's no definitive plans yet. We just have been too busy. And I know that when we're not busy, we're going to want to write new music. So it's going to be tricky to find the time, but it's definitely in the back of our heads.
So I've seen a couple bands, and you've tweeted, or Bad Omens has tweeted about this, but like there's been a lot of talk about venues taking cuts of merch.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think needs to be done to like?
It's like a very multifaceted issue, I feel like, because there are situations where tour packages and agents like kind of rob the promoter blind because they have too high guarantees for bands that don't draw tickets that warrant that price. As a result of that habit or that malpractice, then bands that are doing well or are generating enough income for everyone to eat well are getting screwed over by the same like copy and paste politics, so to speak, in my opinion. And yeah, when it comes to merch rate, that's no different. Like for us, like I've only been more vocal about it recently because it's like a retrospective thing, like seeing as when we were a smaller band, how hard it was for us to make money. Like up until like the last year, we weren't really making money after tour. We were making like just enough to survive and eat. Not that we're like a very like, you know, triumphant band, like always like championing all the, like the people like or anything at all times, but like I do think we could use our newfound platform as a band with a lot of awareness, like to help make things better for smaller bands that are starting out, that are struggling financially, that don't even know about some of these practices or know that they can say no, or like know that they can like negotiate and like don't know when to ask for more, because so many people in music are just so grateful to be here at all and to get any opportunity, because it's such a competitive, oversaturated market that you get like very quickly comfortable with being like walked on, you know? And like it happened to us, it happens to so many other bands. And it's kind of just unfair, in my opinion. Like artists and fans kind of run the industry, you know? Like we play the show and we bring the people to the show, and then like no one's going to a venue just to drink with no band playing. Like no one's going to that venue just to fucking socialize there, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I could talk about it for a long time, but in short, I think that there should be more conversations about it, so it's a little more fair and not so just heavy-handed into like the suits pockets, so to speak, you know? Like I think everyone deserves a bigger slice of the pie.
Well, thank you, and thank you for taking the time to talk with me today.
Yeah, thank you.